Hey ladies and gentlemen, Steven here from Redolessence and welcome back to another video. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it and I hope that this video finds you well. In today's episode, we're going to be taking a closer look at a fragrance by the company The Gate Paris, and this one is called Secret Encounter, so make sure to stay tuned. Now, before I begin my fragrance review of Secret Encounter by The Gate Paris, I do want to mention that if you are a fan of fragrance-related content, if you like fragrance reviews here on YouTube, but also top 10 videos, giveaways, unboxings, special guests, interviews, and pretty much anything having to do with fragrances, please do consider supporting this channel by subscribing to it. All you have to do is click on that red button in the corner, and of course, while you're at it, please be sure to enable notifications by clicking on the bell. This way, whenever I do put out these videos, they will get delivered straight to your feed. So here we have a fragrance by the company The Gate Paris. This one is called Secret Encounter. I've actually reviewed many of their fragrances in the past. I'm going to leave links to them down below if you are interested in checking them out. But I've had the opportunity to explore many of their offerings as well as their oud offerings, which are part of the Caravan collection. And I can tell you there are some fragrances that I'm really sold on. Oud Tonic is like one of my favorite fragrances for the hotter weather. And it's also one that I wear a lot in the summer, but also leaning into the autumn when I still want to be reminded of the summer, and also on account of the fact that it contains that oud ingredient, it makes it really appropriate for when it starts to get a little bit colder as well, just not too cold. Well, here we're going to be talking about a fragrance that is very appropriate for the colder weather, and that's because it has the amber, it has the cedarwood, it has the vanilla, it has pink pepper, it has some spicy ingredients. I also pick up on some ingredients in here that are not necessarily found in the note breakdown, one of them being the note of tea. I'm excited to give you my thoughts on this fragrance, but let's go ahead and start things off with the presentation. So the box for this fragrance actually comes in this outer box that has the logo of the company here on the front, and of course the name of the fragrance smack dab in the middle. You have all of your information on the bottom, and your ingredients along with the concentration are listed on the back. Now on the inside of that box, you actually have this other box that has this leathery feel to it, and you have the company's logo here on the front, and it opens up on the front here. It has a magnet, so it closes very securely, and then you can see the silhouette in there in which the bottle rests. And here's the actual bottle, just as the name of the fragrance here on the front. It's a gold bottle with black accents. The Gate logo is also located on the cap. There's a sticker on the bottom with your information, and the distribution on the atomizer is nice and wide. Let's continue with the smell. So as soon as this fragrance opens up, I get this spicy, peppery, and leathery quality from it. Now, luckily, it does list leather as one of the notes, or I suppose accords, in the note breakdown, but I'm also getting this spicy and slightly dark thing going on in here. And I thought that that peppery quality was coming from the pink pepper, but of course, in my experience, pink pepper can come across having a rosy smell, and that's not necessarily what I'm getting from this fragrance, which leaves me inclined to think that that peppery and dark quality is coming from the cedarwood. Now, there's also an amber accord in the base of this fragrance, and we know that amber can come across smelling rather sweet, especially if they utilize an ample dose of vanilla. In the case of this fragrance, and because of that spicy quality, it comes across smelling more like a dark amber and like a dry amber. So it has this dark, spicy, peppery, and dusty quality about it. But I think there's also a plethora of like these aromatic ingredients in here, whether we're talking about the Artemisia. It doesn't smell too much like absinthe, and I know another fragrance by Nasomato, Absinthe, is very green. This one doesn't smell green, but it has this sort of tea-like quality to it. And I think that that is probably coming from those aromatic ingredients, perhaps a little bit of the sage, but also the ginger that's in here as well. So it has this freshness in the opening, and then it has this dark peppery quality in the base, which makes it a really interesting fragrance. For me, if I had to compare it to any type of tea, I would say it would probably be something like Earl Grey. So Earl Grey has these darker nuances, but you have that bergamot in the opening, you have that freshness in the opening that really lures you in, but it also has this seductive quality about it as well. And with a name like Secret Encounter, I think that already puts our mind in what kind of idea this scent is meant to convey. And I think it does a pretty good job at conveying that. ultimately, I do find this to be a really good nighttime scent. Very good for a night out. Of course, if you're going clubbing or a date, you probably want to go for something that's a little bit sweeter. And despite the fact that this does contain vanilla, I don't get a whole lot of sweetness from it. Like I said, you know, the amber utilized in here is much more on the dry and dusty side. And I do find that the cedarwood and the leather contribute a lot to that darkness. But this is definitely dark, elegant, mysterious, sophisticated, very grown up and adult smelling without smelling dated or anything like that. And just keep in mind that despite the fact that there's vanilla and amber, it still retains its dark edge. But I also get like this freshness in the opening that directly contradicts the darkness, which is why I find this to be a really interesting fragrance and why I keep going back to it. Now, keep in mind, because of that darkness, the cedar wood and the dry amber and all of these things, I do find this one to be really appropriate for the colder weather. And so while I have been thoroughly enjoying my Oud Tonic in the hotter months, I even featured it in my top 10 best summer niche fragrances of 2020 list. I think it made it in the number 5 or number 6 spot or something like that. And that was about 3 months ago. Now I'm going to be enjoying Secret Encounter, and this brand definitely has a lot of other really wonderful fragrances as well. And so I'm hoping that if you are watching this video, if my description of this fragrance sounds interesting to you, I really hope you have the opportunity to check it out. Let's go ahead and finish things off with my overall assessment. So first up, in terms of the uniqueness and the overall smell, this one definitely smells unique to me. I was trying to think if there's any other designer or niche fragrance that I could possibly compare this to, even as a frame of reference, but really it does its own thing. It has multiple layered and multi-layered personality to it. You know, the smooth element on account of that tea-like thing going on in here, the ginger in the opening, the peppery base, that ambery quality. So I think it has a lot of different dimensions, and so that makes it a unique fragrance, and definitely one that I would recommend to somebody who is tired of the, common and, types of fragrances that they've probably smelled 100 times before. If you're looking for something different and something unique, definitely check this one out. In terms of the longevity, it does last a very long time. You can expect at least 8 hours on your skin. The projection was very good for the first 2 to 2.5 hours, and it didn't start to sit closer to the skin until about like that 7-hour mark, so it performs very well. In terms of the versatility, I can see myself opting to wear this one in the colder weather. In the hotter weather, I would probably wear some of the brighter, more citrusy offerings from the brand. And then I think this one is perfectly unisex, can be enjoyed by both a man and a woman. And I think that this one, it comes across a little bit more formal than it does casual on my skin, at least. In terms of the presentation, I really do like the box and the magnets and, the way that it opens up. And my final verdict on this fragrance is, if you're looking for an amber that isn't too sweet, that also has this leathery, seductive, masculine, and mysterious quality about it, definitely check this fragrance out. And again, I use that adjective masculine, but I think it's perfectly unisex. These are just recommendations. I think traditionally people see woodsy and leathery fragrances as being masculine, but I'm thoroughly enjoying this one, and I hope you have an opportunity to try it as well. So I just want to thank you all so much for tuning into this video. I really do appreciate it. If you took something of value from this video, please do consider supporting this channel by subscribing to it. All you have to do is click on that red button in the corner. And of course, while you're at it, please be sure to enable notifications by clicking on the bell. This way, whenever I do put out these videos, they will get delivered straight to your feed. You never need to worry about missing any of my future uploads. Thanks again for watching. I love you all. We'll see you next time. Bye.